Hey everybody, back again. We're right back at it. All right. This is a topic for the CCNA. And I'm pretty sure it's for the Network Plus as well, but definitely for the CCNA Volume 1. Oh, not Volume 1. Version 1.1. Okay. So you can be aware of that. All right. So what do we have here? We have a layer 3 switch. We have two PCs. One is going to be VLAN 2, going to be, because it's not part of it yet. And one's going to be VLAN 10. And they need to be able to communicate. Reason that you see me plugging in port 2, I want to leave port 1 alone, because normally port 1, I use it for, we should use it for VLAN 1. And I just want all the numbers to match. 2222. All right. And then it's going up to the router. And you can see that this is red because the router's interface is off. We're not going to do a router yet. So we're going to take care of a layer, the switch. Now this could be, let's say, a small company, all right? And let me just show you the, you have a small company, and then you have this going on. You can separate, these 4 ports. Let's say these, not these 4 ports, these 4 sections into their own freaking VLANs for maybe the departments that you may have. You can do that. I know that I worked, oh my God, many years ago. I worked at a Brazilian import-export company in Miami, Florida, and pretty much I was their only employee. But they did have, several departments. It was a family-owned place. They had different departments, the executive, financial, sales, stuff like that. And you can go ahead and VLAN that out. I didn't know about VLANs back then, but this is something that you can do. But just to explain the concept, nice and easy. All right, so let's get into the switch. So we got 2 VLANs that we need to create, 2 and 10. Okay, we got 2 VLANs that we need to create. Let's bring it over here. Okay, so I'm going to say no. Am I in the switch? Yes. I'm going to say no. It's a layer 3 switch. Do an enable, config T, hostname, MLS1. Now the basic housekeeping that I'm not going to do the whole thing. There's some things that I just like to do. I forget to do it sometimes, but it's no IP domain hyphen lookup. Okay, what that does is simply if you type something wrong, do the typo. I'm the typo king. It won't try to resolve it with the DNS. All right, and then the other one in your line con 0 is here in the packet trace. There's only login synchronous. Tab is your friend. Okay. And then what happens is when the router, something happens and it gives you feedback, it's giving you syslog messages, okay? And if you're typing and something pops up, it's going to interrupt your typing. You don't want that to happen. You want to be in sync with your prompt. So login synchronous. You can do it there, and you can also do it here. VTY 0 space. Let's just, here, these are the only 10 lines that are there. 0 through 4 will be the default. This is just the extra one. I'll do the same thing. Login, synchronous, do WR. That's it. That's all I'm going to do there. All right. But I just don't want to be interrupted while I'm typing. All right. And I don't want to be twiddling my thumbs if I do a typo. So let's create the VLANs. You create the VLAN, you name the VLAN, and you assign the VLAN. Okay. So we're going to do create the VLAN. Let's call create VLAN 2 and create. Wow. I said it, so I wanted to do it. VLAN 2. There you go. You created it. VLAN 2. Now let's give it a name. Name, we just call it sales. All right, and let's create the other VLAN. VLAN 10, and we'll call that name payroll. I want to get paid, especially in these days. So let's do WR that. Do show IP VLAN brief. Really? Oh, do show VLAN brief. Sorry. Do show VLAN brief. All right. So you got your sales, but they're not part of any ports yet. All the ports are still part of the native VLAN, which is VLAN 1. Okay. So these are 2 VLANs that we created, but again, they're not part of any port. That's creating the VLAN, naming the VLAN. Now we need to assign the VLAN. Now these VLANs, VLAN 2 is in port 2. Pretty simple, right? VLAN 10 is in port 10. So that's pretty easy to remember. See, I don't screw this up. All right, config T, interface F0/2 for VLAN 2. First thing you need to do is turn into an access mode. Switch port mode access. It has to be static access. Switch port access VLAN, and this will be for VLAN 2. Cool. And then we go right from here, interface F0/10. Why did I put G? I don't know. My fingers did that, not me. Okay. And then we're just going to up arrow. Switch port mode access. I'm doing up arrow with the arrow keys. And then access VLAN is 10. Now you want to do this. All right. When you're taking the test and the CCNA, you want to be quick. So you can do up arrows. You can use question mark. You can tab. This is just things that are going to help you very quickly to do what you need to do. All right, Control Z it, and then just do show VLAN brief again. All right, now you can see that sales or VLAN 2 is assigned to port 2, and the payroll VLAN 10 is part of VLAN 10. All right, cool. So now you see they're going to be there's two different VLANs. They're on two separate networks. So that means that this router, we'll need more cables, don't we? To go ahead and plug that in. No, we do inter-VLAN communication. And the way you do that is by creating sub-interfaces. So we're going to create sub-interfaces for each one of these VLANs so they can have their own gateways. You can see they have their own gateway already if you look at the PC. That's the 2.2BD4. And this will be the 10.2BD4. That's already in there. Let's just make sure. Okay, 10.2BD4. Okay. So let's go ahead under the G00 interface. Let's do that. So we're going to go into the router. All right, we're going to say no. We're going to enable it. We'll call it router 1. Host name R1. I'm still going to do the same things that I did at the switch for the basic housekeeping thing. No IP domain -lookup, and then I'll do line con 0 login synchronous. You can do the same thing, line VTY 0/15, up arrow twice, login synchronous, exit. So that's done. Again, I don't want to be interrupted. So I'm going to go inside the G00. Okay, so I'm going to do int G0/0. That is the actual physical interface. No shut. Just turn it on. Just turn it on. Now I'm going to up arrow so I get to these interface. I'm going to do .2. That could be whatever number you like it to be. I don't know. Whatever number you want to put in there, that's your problem. I put .2 because it's for VLAN 2. So it just makes it easier for me to identify. It's a visual thing. But read the instructions in your labs given to you by your professors, and obviously in the certification. The first thing you need to do is match the encapsulation type that we're using on the switch. So we'll do encap .1Q for 802.1Q. Now here, if you question mark it, it tells you this has to be the VLAN ID, meaning here's where you identify the actual VLAN you want to talk to. So put VLAN 2. Okay? And enter. Once you do that, then you can put the IP address for the gateway, not before. So we're going to do IP address 192.168.2.254, 255.255.255.0, and done. Well, not done deal. We got to do the other one. All right. So that's done for that VLAN. Let's open this up a little bit more, so we don't have to. There you go. So you created a sub interface. You did the encapsulation for that particular VLAN, same encap, right? 802.1Q, and then we go ahead and put the actual gateway address. Now we're going to do this for the other port, which is port 10. So work smarter, not harder. I'm going to up arrow through my commands. So now I'll go to the sub interface command, take out the 2 and put 10. It's going to be sub interface 10 for VLAN 10. Okay. The encapsulation which is VLAN 10. So that .1Q is changed to VLAN 10. And then the IP address, again, I'm going to up arrow through, and there's a reason I do things like this. So I can just up arrow and backspace it. Done. Do WR. Now I verify it. Show IP in the brief. Let's look at that. And let's open this up a little bit more. And you can see here, your sub interface it's up, and you can see here the other up right here. All right. And you see under the sub interface 2 for the 2.254, which is VLAN 2, and then the sub interface 10, which the gateway is 10.54 for the VLAN 10. So let's take a look at that. I like to do a show start, especially in the packet tracer. Okay. And there it is right here. Sub interface 2, VLAN 2, gateway 2. You see why I do it? 10, 10, 10. You're learning a concept. You're learning a concept on how to do this. Don't make it difficult. Make it easy. Once you get it, then you can start changing things around because you understand what each command is for, its purpose. All right. Control Z. Now, one thing we did not do is trunk this port. Why do we need to trunk that port? Because of the encapsulation that we use to trunk that port. When we do trunk it is .1Q or 802.1Q. If we don't trunk it, then it won't work. Now let's prove that. I'm gonna come here and I'm pinging. Hey, what happened? Just went crazy on me. All right, so here we are in PC0. I'm gonna ping. Well, let's do an IP config first. IP config. All right, there's my gateway. Ping 192.168.2.254, and it's not gonna work. I'm gonna fast forward through. Fast forward through here. It's my favorite. It's not gonna work. Why? Because VLANs that we create are untagged VLANs. They don't have what the native VLAN has, which is a PVID, a port VLAN identifier. So they must go across a trunk port because they need to be tagged, and it's called frame tagging. Okay, this is what's called untagged frames. Tagged frames. I'm sorry. Let me go back. What we're going to do with these will be tagged frames because they're being tagged. Untagged frames are the VLAN. The native VLAN is untagged, right? Because they have already a PVID that tells them who they are. VLAN 2 and VLAN 10 don't do that, so they need to be frame tagged, therefore tagged frames. So we're going to go, now this is a layer 3 switch. So when we go to the layer 3 switch, it's the G01 interface, config T, int G01. Normally in a layer 2, all I just need to do all I need to do is this, switch port mode trunk. But it doesn't work in this 3560. On the 3650, it does, but not on this one. So on this one, you need to do switch port trunk encap.1Q. You have to tell it the encapsulation type. It used to be that it would support ISL. That's no longer inter-switch link. That's no longer, but you still need, for these 3560s, you need to do that. And then you can do switch port mode trunk. Then we're good to go. Okay. Now let's take a look at it. Two ways. Show in trunk is the easiest way. So it shows you that there's your 802.1Q, the .1Q you have on the router, and it is trunking native VLAN. All VLANs are allowed. All VLANs. We're not doing any pruning or anything like that. All VLANs are there. You can see VLAN 1, 2, and 10. Okay, they're all there. All VLANs will be allowed. Now another way of looking at this is show switch port. Is it show switch port or show interface G0/1 switch port? Yeah, that's what it is. I always have problems with that command. Switch port. And then where you want to look at it is the operational mode. Why is it down? Oh, enable dynamic auto down, trunking encapsulation. Oh, here it is. Administrative trunking encapsulation negotiated. Operational trunking encapsulation is native. Negotiation trunking is on. Okay. All right. Cool. But Now, let's see if it works. So two ways of looking at it. Show in trunk, which is the easiest thing to do, or show interface G01 or whatever interface switch port. All right. And now I'll do it again. Before we couldn't get there. Now we can get there. Now we can get there. Can we get to the other side? Ping 192.168.10.1. Again, I'm not going to wait for the ART. I'm just going to fast forward through time. And I was able to. All right. So that is inter-VLAN connectivity. Inter-VLAN connectivity. It's very easy to do. Just follow the steps. This is a layer 3 switch. Doesn't matter. Same thing for layer 2. Create the VLAN. Name the VLAN. Assign the VLAN. And make sure that you trunk the appropriate ports. And then go into your router and create your sub interfaces. I left the trunking for last on purpose so you know that you have to trunk that port in order to work, because that's when you do the incap.1q, it's got to match what you did in that trunking port on the G01. Okay, that's inter-VLAN connectivity. See you in the next one.